To my friends in this fellowship, she is a dear friend for me, and I think will become one after you or while you hear her message. Lori Ann Sherman, who is a Keweenaw tribal member, serves as the president of Keweenaw Ojibwa Community College in Lawrence, Michigan. Her journey toward this esteemed position reflects a lifelong commitment to education and community empowerment. Lori Ann's academic journey began at Michigan Technological University, and that's how some of you know her, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Industrial Marketing and Management in 2001. Her dedication to academia continued as she pursued and completed her Master of Science in Rhetoric and Technical Communication in 2010, further solidifying her expertise in education and communication. In her current role as president of KBIC, Lori Ann oversees both administrative and academic functions with precision and care. Her leadership extends beyond the college campus as she actively engages with local businesses, tribal enterprises, and legislators to foster partnerships and advocate for tribal college initiatives. Prior to her presidency at KBOCC, she served as the director of the Natural Resource Department for the Keweenaw Indian community, where she played a pivotal role in protecting and preserving treaty rights. Throughout her career, Lori Ann has demonstrated a profound dedication to empowering individuals and fostering positive change within her community. Her leadership at the college and previous roles is a testament to her passion for education and her unwavering commitment to creating opportunities for all. With her vision and expertise, Lori Ann continues to inspire and uplift those around her, leaving a lasting impact on the lives of the students and the community members alike. Welcome, Lori.
Bonjour, that means hello. So I'm going to start out with a reading, and this is from Revelations. After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and languages, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. When I was asked to provide a reading, I thought this one was very appropriate. It describes a vision seen by the Apostle John, and he sees an immense crowd that goes on forever, that it can't be counted. And it talks about the diversity and the multitude that every nation, tribe, and language from across the world are represented in all cultures and ethnicities. So that's why I chose that reading. Do you want to go to the? Oh, yeah. So, bonjour. Ojawan Magwan Kwe Nindishnakaz, Makwan Nindundam, Siba Indunjapa, Pelki and Dao. So I just gave you a greeting in Anishinaabe-Moan, which is my traditional language. I told you what my native name is, which is Ojawan Magwan Kwe, which means yellow feather woman. I don't usually explain my name, but I feel very comfortable here, so I feel comfortable to tell you my name. And I always try to have something on me that symbolizes that, whether it be a color, a ring, or it's just like a source of comfort for me. In my name of my presentation is Mino-bimaadiziwin. That means living the good life. We strive every day to try to help our fellow human and nature and all that is around us. And when you do that, you live the good life. So I thought it was really appropriate for that title for this presentation. I'm very deeply rooted in our traditions of our reservation. I was born and raised in Ziba. It's outside of Lance, heading towards Skainey. It's part of the Lance and Baraga Reservation. So I'll be talking to you a little bit about the history of Keweenaw Indian community and where I was raised. And then I will also be talking about KBOCC, which is a place that I really love. It's not just a story of our institution, but it's a reflection of our community's commitment to preserving our heritage and advancing our future. So it's a very important mission to keep our culture alive, strong, and thriving. Okay. So first I thought I would explain what a treaty right is, because at times people don't understand what a treaty right is, and this is part of my job, is to explain and help people understand so we can understand one another. So treaties were the primary way that the United States government and tribes conducted relations. So in exchange for ceding millions of acres of our homeland to the United States, we agreed to accept the United States protection and other promises. Unfortunately, there has been probably over 250 treaties, and every one of them has been broken by the U.S. government to this day. They're still being broken. So I do advocate quite often. I go out to Washington, D.C. at least 2 or 3 times a year and talk with our legislatures, and for funding for our college, to keep our rights. We have one right that's called the Michigan Indian Tuition Waiver, and our ancestors made that treaty with the United States government, and they worded it in the way that they knew how to word things, that we would receive education from the Western world at no cost. So that would pay for our tuition, our books, our fees, until the sun did not go up anymore or the grass did not grow. And every year that Michigan Indian Tuition Waiver comes up, it gets cut. I mean, before it used to be any Native American. We had Canadian citizens coming down and coming to our colleges and our schools, and it was paying for them. So now they cut that off. And it was supposed to pay for the books, tuition, fees, room and board. Now it just pays for tuition. So every year a little bit more keeps getting cut. So that's something that I fight fiercely for our people, to at least continue to receive the Michigan Indian Tuition Waiver. And then they put parameters on it. So you know, you have to prove your descendancy, you have to prove you're so much blood, you have to be a resident for a year without going to college. So they keep putting these barriers up, but we keep fighting them. So we retain our rights that are granted in our treaties, and as well as rights and sovereign control in other federal laws. So in the ways that we do that, for example, land, we retain rights to our homelands and to our land boundaries, which I'll show you. There's the map right there. We also have resources that we retain our right to hunt, fish, and gather. Our people were fishermen, of course, because of the lake out here. So many of my brothers and uncles and all our relatives, they would go out really early in the morning and fish, and that's how we made our way of life. Through services, you know, we receive rights to goods and services such as food, education, and health care. And then we receive protection from any type of attacks on our land, as well as guarantees of peace. And one of the most important things that we have is our sovereignty. Our sovereignty is how we retain our rights to self-government and jurisdiction over our own lands. Sovereignty is like a nation within a nation. So we have our own laws, we have our own police force, we have our own health clinic. The best way I can explain it is a nation within a nation that has all the rights and rules and regulations to govern themselves. So introduction to KBIC KBIC, you can see that where our land boundaries are, the one in the darker red, that's where the reservation is. And then you can see our home territories, that's all lined there. And that also includes some Wisconsin tribes too. So some of you may be familiar with Peterson's Fish Market in Hancock. That's why they're able to fish on, on the lake, because they are within this treaty boundary as well. So they're not Keweenaw Bay, but they're from Bad River. They're a different tribe from us. We have approximately about 75,000 acres, 54,000 of that, which is land. We have 19 miles of Lake Superior shoreland and 3,000 acres of wetlands. So we're very conscious of decisions that are made and how it affects our environment, because we're not going anywhere. This is where we were born and raised, and we want to keep our land and our water and our air healthy for the next 7 generations. It's very important that we don't just look at today, but we also look out 7 generations to make sure our grandchildren are cared for like we were with this land. That's why we try so hard to take care of it. We also have land in Baraga and Ziba, where I grew up in Ziba. And then we have land in Ontonagon and also in Marquette. We have approximately 200 acres of land holdings in Marquette. And the L'Anse Reservation and the Ontonagon Reservation exterior boundaries are formally recognized by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which is called the BIA. I know it's a lot, but I just thought it's important that you understand that this isn't something that was given to us. This is our right. Some people don't understand that. And then I wanted to talk about your homeland acknowledgement. I'm very impressed. I'm very honored that you have your homeland acknowledgement. I've read through them, and what a homeland acknowledgement does for me or for my tribe, it's a statement that recognizes and respects the Indigenous people who have traditionally lived in this area. It serves as a way to honor our identity, our history, our culture, and our connection to this land. This practice has gained prominence in various contexts, including public events, institutional gatherings, and I just did a presentation to the Houghton Rotary, yes, and they have a land acknowledgement as well. And I was so honored, as I am here, that they had that. I didn't expect that, so thank you very much for that. It's very, for me, it's very welcoming. It acknowledges our historical and ongoing connection with our ancestral lands. So it can help erase history. It can help raise awareness about our history and our culture. And it also serves as an educational tool for those who may not be familiar, with the history or current realities of our Indigenous communities. Oh, you got it up there. You're quicker. Just quick. So this is one of your land acknowledgments, and I really just love how you say, let's take a moment and center ourselves. That is very, very wise, I think. And how you acknowledge that this land is within our ancestral homelands and how it was ceded during the La Pointe Treaty. So very well done. I don't know who all wrote it, but it's very well done. And then here's another one. This is another land acknowledgement statement from your, is it KUUF, or how do you just? KUF. I wasn't sure if it was cuff, and I didn't want to speak off the cuff, so KUF. And here's another one, and this one acknowledges who the region's original caretakers and knowledge keepers were, and very well done. Thank you. Miigwech. Miigwech means thank you for that. Now I want to talk a little bit about our clan system, because that's how our tribe traditionally is. We've had to learn Western ways of how to run our businesses and do certain things, but we also have our traditional way that we still keep in our hearts and in the way that we do business. If everyone followed our clan system, there'd be no wars, there'd be no fighting, our environment would be clean, it would be a really nice place to live. So some of the clan systems, like the Ojibwe and the Crane and the Hmong, the Loon clan, this is kind of, so the Crane clan is usually the people that are tribal chairmen, leaders, that type of thing. But the Loon clan are the ones that make sure that our tribal leaders are following what they should be doing. So there's a little checks and balances there. And then we have the Gagoon or Fish clan. They were our teachers and our scholars. They helped children develop skills and have healthy spirits. And they also had the knowledge, so when the Crane and the Loon clan got a little out of control, they helped any disputes going on there. The Makwa clan, they were very strong. That's the Bear clan. They were very steady. They spent a lot of time like patrolling the land and surrounding the villages. And in doing so, they learned which roots, barks, and plants could be used for medicines and to treat ailments of our people. We still collect all our medicines in the area. My niece, she was recognized as a plant gatherer, and it's really cool to go for a walk with her. I mean, she's 16 years old now, so it's hard to get her to go for a walk with me sometimes, but she still will. She'll call me up and say, "Auntie, can I come over?" And I'm like, "Yeah, come on over." And we'll go stroll through the woods and stuff, and she'll be like picking plants and eating them, and, "Oh, that one's good for this, or that one's good for that." So she's going to be one of our plant carriers. And we don't really have what I would say is a medicine man, but we have what we call healers. And you know what's really cool? I have Blue Care Network, and they accept Blue Care Network for our healers. So that's really neat. The deer, Wawashiki, that's a person who is like gentle. It could be like the deer, elk, moose, caribou. They cared for others, and they made sure the community had housing and recreation. They were poets and pacifists, and they usually avoided like all harsh words. They were very gentle people. And I also believe that they represent all our LGBTQ. And they were before we were colonized and assimilated, people of the Deer clan were they were honored in our systems, because not only could they do the role of what a man was doing, but they could also do the role of what a woman was doing by gathering or hunting. So they were very well honored in our society. But then when we were assimilated, we took on, we forgot it, and we learned different ways. So we're relearning our culture, our clan system. We're relearning everything, and these teachings are starting to come back to us of how open and accepting we should be of all people. And then we have the Martin clan. They can be little stinkers sometimes. So they were hunters and food gatherers, and also warriors. They defended our villages and our hunting territory, and they were master strategists in planning the defense of our people. So, and then there's the Bird clan, and the Bird clan represents all those winged birds, such as the eagles, the owls, all of them. And one of the highest spiritual is the eagle for us, which is Migizi. Migizi is our eagle clan. They were also said to possess characteristics, of the eagle, and that's the head of the clan, and they pursued the highest elevations of the mind, just as the eagle pursues the highest elevations of the sky. So when we pray or when we gather, it's always a good sign to see eagles flying overhead. We believe that the eagle feathers hold our spirits of our warriors, and they are to be treated with absolute respect. There's even like a ceremony or a protocol that you have to do if an eagle feather drops, like if you're at a powwow or an event, and if an eagle feather drops, everything stops. You probably won't even notice it, like if you come to a powwow, there's a lot going on. that you don't know. But like when that eagle feather's dropped, there's a ceremony going on right around that eagle feather. And we welcome people to come to our events like a powwow. It's an honor for us that you come and you have, you want to know about what we're doing. I think the more we learn about each other, the less conflict we can have, and we can be so powerful and work together. This community, even the Houghton County, you're our neighbors, you know, we're all around here. So I think it's important, and I'm just very grateful that I've been asked here to speak a little bit about my culture and about the college, and I think good things will come of this. It already has. And I'm so very thankful for what you have provided for our students. You know, this is going to be able to offer our students at least a $500 scholarship every fall. And our students can use the financial support. They really can. We have some students that, you know, they're just brilliant. They just get through the whole associate's degree or the certificate or whatever it is they want to do. And, you know, they have no issues. But then we have other students that financially it is just hard for them. They may be single mothers, they may be having to work another job, they may be a small family. And so what you're doing here today and what you have done is really going to have a great impact on my students. And I thank you for that, miigwech. So our language and our culture is very intertwined. Our language is what we call Anishinaabe-Moan. And speakers of Anishinaabe-Moan, they never had to be told to respect a woman or elders or your children, because it was a fundamental that is built right into our language. And when we lose that, we lose our way of life. And that's why it's so very important that we have tribal colleges, because our mission is to make sure we keep our culture and language alive and thriving. For example, Ikwe, that's the word for woman, and it's connected to Aki, which is earth, because both are life givers. There's always a connection with our environment within our language. It's a beautiful language. I wish I was fluent. I'm not. I do know a lot of words. I know a lot of phrases. I can understand what they're saying when they're saying a prayer. But I continue to try to keep learning. And so does the rest of our tribe. We're trying to do language. We're trying to open up different schools that will teach in the language, like a K through 12. It's in the horizon, but that is something that I would really like to see happen before I retire. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about KBIC. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the Keweenaw Indian community. And I wanted to tell you, this is a new logo that they have for the Keweenaw Indian community. And it's more than just, you know, I mean, you can tell the eagle and it's the land and the water. But at the center of the logo is the eagle, and that's a visual representation of strength and healing. And then the unity and resilience is the circle shape holding each element of the logo together. And that also displays strength, resilience, and serves as a reminder of the commitment to supporting and uplifting one another. It's very important that we uplift one another. And then the date is the December 17th, 1936. And that's the date that represents the Constitution and bylaws of the KBIC, which were approved and enacted by the U.S. Department of Interior. And then you see those 7 rays? Those are intentionally used to signify the 7 generations. As I said earlier, we always try to make decisions in how that'll affect our 7 generations. And then that also represents our 7 grandfather teachings. If you ever come down to college, we have our 7 grandfather teachings all over, everywhere. And every day I come into work, I pick one of those teachings, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try really hard to, let's say it's humility, you know, to be humble. And it's something that I strive to do every day, you know, all the 7 grandfathers, but I do try to pick one, and especially to pay attention to it. for that day at least, and in my whole life. Okay. So some of the things that the KBIC community, we have tribal thriving businesses, we have support services, there's a lot of jobs in the community, and you don't have to be Native to get a job. A lot of people think, well, you have to be Native to work for the tribe. No, you don't. And the same goes for our college. You do not have to be Native to come to our college. We accept both Native and non-Native students. We do have a health system, and it is called the Indian Health System, IHS. So we have both physical, mental, and behavioral health services, as well as dental in there. And then we have, the education with KBOCC, and we have a natural resources department. I know Horace is familiar with that, and I was a director out there for over 5 years. So, and then we also have our safety, which is our tribal law enforcement. But all these things that we have, they kind of go right back into the clan system. So it's kind of, and you don't have to have the same name. Like I was born with a certain name, but now that my role has shifted and I'm very much in a leadership position, I had one of our healers come up to me and tell me that it was time my name was changed. And that can happen. Usually you follow, some believe you follow your father's clan, but my father was non-Native, my mother was Native, so I followed my mother's clan. But now it's time that I've grown, and I'm going to switch into the Crane clan, which is the leaders of the tribe. So I'm nervous about it. So and it's really cool. I mean, your whole family gets together, and you have a ceremony, you have the fire, you have the water. There's so many similarities between us. There's more similarities than there are differences. There really is. So when I see all this stuff, it makes me feel really comfortable. And then when I look out at all of you, I know some of you, I see a student even from our college here. So that's really neat. Okay. So the Constitution and bylaws of the tribe, they were accepted and approved, like I said, by the Department of Interior in December of 17th, 1936. So you'll see that date prominent. The tribe has its own newsletter, which is really neat. So if you're interested in what's going on at the tribe, I can make sure you receive that link and you can look. And it has all sorts of things in the newsletter. And then we also are trying to build to be self-sufficient to sustain our way of life. So we now have, and I started this when I was at the Natural Resources as their director, a community garden. And when it first started, okay, I'll tell you, we did something really silly. So we're a fish hatchery. We transplant billions of fish into the lakes and streams, especially walleye. We have walleye ponds that we grow them, and they get to a certain size, like a fingerling, and then we transplant them everywhere. We never take more than what we put back, and that is one of our ways of life. But so the fish hatchery, and we had all this fish poop. So we're like, well, let's use that as fertilizer. And we're like, yeah, this will be great. So we put it out on all the community garden, and we burnt everything. So we weren't as smart as our ancestors. I thought if we left it for a year, it would be good, because, like horse manure and cow manure, you have to let the acidity get out of it. So I thought it would be fine, and no, it wasn't. So we did learn from that, and now the garden is really flourishing. Those gardens are really starting to produce. So, we value and we're very grateful for what nature gives us, and everything here belongs to every member of the community. We choose to live here because we value each other's well-being. We have our freedoms and our independence, and we strive to be as self-supporting as possible. We embrace non-tribal outside world partnerships and collaborations that infuse strength into our community. So that's very important. Yeah, so that's a little bit about KBIC. And now I want to talk to you about my favorite, KBOCC. That's our college. So The eagle or the McGizzy, we have that front and center in our logo as well. And that eagle brings our prayers up to the Creator. And like I said, the eagle feather contains our warrior spirit. And then we have the flowers. Those are, you can tell different tribes by their different, the different type of clothing they wear, their regalia, their earrings, the patterns. So our tribe is very much into floral patterns and green vines and tulips. And so when you see all that type of beadwork and stuff, that's usually Anishinaabe. Okay. And the tribe does not own the college. The tribe does not run the college. We are very autonomous. We run ourselves. So I'm the president, and then I do have a board that I look to for. It's made up of 8 members of tribal members, and they help me make decisions, or I'll run something by them. But we are autonomous from the tribe. The tribe doesn't support us financially. We make all our own decisions. We have our own health care. So I'm really excited that we are able to support ourselves. It's been a long, hard road, and our enrollment has tripled. This is the highest enrollment we have ever had. We have new programs that we've never had before, like nursing. We have welding. When I first came onto the college campus, we had one dual enrolled student, and that's where they enroll from high school and they can take credits at the community college. And I'm like, there's no way that we should only have one. So that was one of my initial goals, was to up that number, and now we're at well over 100. And we have welding, so our high school students are taking welding, CNAs, culinary, business entrepreneurship. We have a little program, a class that the students will, from start to finish, design a product, and it'll have the KBOCC logo on it some way, and then they will sell it in our bookstore. And it's a really neat program because they're really excited because they get to price point it, and everything. So we have a lot of different type of unique things going on. We also just did a new mission, a vision, and values. And we did it in a way that has never been done for our college before. Our community is so close-knit, both Native and non-Native. I wanted to invite the non-Native community as well as the Native community to come together. And we had business people on both sides of Native and non-Native businesses. We had the community members, we had the hospital staff, we had everyone from all over, and we invited them all. And we had an intense workshop, and we were able to get their feedback, and with their feedback, this is how we did our new mission and vision and our values. So I'm really, really proud of that work. And now we're rolling out a new strategic plan, because in 2025, we'll be open for 50 years. That'll be our 50-year anniversary. So with the 50-year anniversary, we're going to have our vision, mission, values, and a new strategic plan. So I'm really excited for that. And then I wanted to show you this classroom. We are very up to date. Are you able to go back or no? That's okay if you can't. Perfect. So you can see the classroom here. This is the class. Each of these desks, they're like little group spaces for our students to work together. And you know what's really cool is when I see non-Native students coming in, and they might be a little nervous, there's a lot of things around them that they may have not seen. But then I see our Native students connecting with our non-Native students, becoming best friends, going through their whole college experience together and becoming friends at the end, and still staying friends. I just love that. I love how they support each other. So these are little group stations that are very technological savvy, so that they all have their own screens that pop up and down, and they can all work together on the screen. They can touch the screen. I don't know a lot about technology, but it's just really cool. Okay. So this is something, we strive to give the best education that we can, but we also strive to make sure our culture and our heritage is always at the forefront. All our classes have some sort of cultural concept or practice that goes through them. Every one of our classes has that, whether it be the 7 grandfathers, some sort of teachings, maybe counting in Ojibwe. There's a way for our culture to be into everything, and it's many times it's already there. But one of the things that we did do, which was really neat, is last fall we built this teaching lodge, and there was students involved in it, both Native and non-Native. There was teachers, faculty, myself. I was digging holes out there with shovels as well. And we put together this teaching lodge. And this is the traditional way that our ancestors taught us how to learn, is in a teaching lodge. You know, aunties and grandparents and parents would go into the lodge with the children, like you did this little teaching here. They would do things like that. So like I said, there's so many ways that we do things very similar to one another. We're more alike than we are not. So these are some of the programs, and I've highlighted some of the ones in yellow. Anishinaabe Studies, that's the study of our culture and our language. I love those classes. You know, I did my master's, I did my bachelor's. I'm looking at a PhD program. I've applied to a couple of them already, but I'm also doing an associate's right now in Anishinaabe Studies. And that has been the most rewarding experience. You know, I was born and raised on a reservation. I know our culture, I know our traditions, but I learned so much more, you know, by taking this Anishinaabe Studies course as well. So I learned about other tribes, I learned about other indigenous communities. It really opened my eyes, and it was just a great program. And a lot of these programs are online. If you ever want to take a class, you know, just contact me, we can get you hooked up. So we have classes online that are a lot of fun, a lot of informative classes to take. So these are just some of our programs. And the reason that we have tribal colleges, why we were founded, is with the understanding that our Native American students, as member of sovereign nations, deserved an educational system that is responsive to our needs and our concerns. I mean, for so many generations, we have had to deal with historical trauma. There's the missing and murdered Indigenous women. Our women go missing at rates that are just, you can't even believe it. And there's not much done in the law or the system, and you don't hear a whole lot about it. But the rates of our missing and murdered Indigenous women, it's scary how my cousin can go missing and nobody does anything, you know. And then there's the boarding school era, and that's why it's so important that our students feel comfortable coming to us. That, you know, when I first told my mom I was going to go to Michigan Tech, oh my goodness, she's like, what are you thinking? And I said, I want to do something. I don't want to work in a gas station. I don't want to be struggling my whole life. I want insurance. I want health insurance for my children. And she was terrified. And I know the first day I walked onto campus for my first class, and it was a computers class, my knees shook. I mean, I was, and nobody could tell because I'm light like my dad. I don't have that typical Native American look, but that's who I am. So I got back in my car and I'm like, I can't do this, and I left. And then, because I went really early to class to make sure I knew where I was going. And then I went back and I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I sat down in my first class, and like I said, it was a computers class. And the instructor is, turn your computer on and put in your password and your username. And it took me 45 minutes to figure out how to turn the computer on, because I'd never touched a computer. And it was the tower at the time, you know, you push the little button in the tower. So I was way behind before we even started. And all the faculty at that time had TAs. Thankfully, the TA saved my life. And she could see I was really struggling. And after class, I was ready to burst out in tears. I didn't even know what to do. And so she went over all the class material with me after every class. And she helped me. You know, there's so many key people that helped me in my journey at Michigan Tech, and I'm just forever grateful, as well as Vicki. She was on my committee. She was my committee, because at that time, I was very lucky. At that time, we only had to have one person on that could get us through for our masters in our committee. So she was very helpful, and I'll always be thankful to her as well. And Krista Walk, she was a business faculty. She was amazing. She really helped me, because right after that class, I had a meeting with her, because she was my advisor, and she could tell I was literally in shock. She's like, "You're in shock right now." And I said, "Yeah, there's something going on." So she really helped me through all of that too. So we all have those people that, you know, in our lives that come into our path, and they help us grow, and they help us to become to the point where we are at. If it wasn't for Vicki, I wouldn't be standing here right now, I guarantee you, because without her support and kindness, I wouldn't have been able to achieve that master's. So, okay. This is just a little at a glance. You know, we're very small, although, like I said, our population has tripled, our enrollment. And it's really good. The growth is really great, but when it happens so fast like that, it's hard to keep people. I mean, we've been trying to hire. We've been hiring people right and left to try to keep up with the volume of students. So it's been a little bit of a challenge, but it's a good challenge to have. So we have very small ratio. You know, our students are not a social security number. They're very much, they know me. I mean, I can't, if I go in a grocery store and I'm looking a little bit grubby, they're like, "Hey," you know, so it's very close-knit community, and everybody knows everybody. So the future of KBOC, it looks really bright. We're outgrowing our space. We are so squished in our building is an old renovated hospital. It's beautiful now. It's just gorgeous, and it's set up very cultural, very intentional. But I'm running out of space. I mean, we're redoing the morgue right now because, yeah, I don't tell the students that. I don't tell them that, yeah, your class is going to be in the morgue, but yeah, we are redoing the morgue. So we just put a new floor in there and painted, and we have dryers and stuff going on in there because it always has like a funny smell to it. So, but yeah, I'm desperate for space, so it's like, yeah, let's renovate that. And we also have a building out in Pelkey. It used to be the old Pelkey School. It's called the Arts and Agricultural Center now. And we're teaching our first class out there this semester, and our goal is to have an associate's in food preservation, you know, food culture, food sovereignty, all those types of things. So that's we renovated that whole building. We even have an elevator in there now because there's 2 different floors, and our students that may have disabilities need to be able to get everywhere. So we're really excited about that, and I'm really excited. We have a hoop house out there. We have greenhouses. We have root cellars that we have built, all traditional. We do wild rice out there. We have workshops on how to process wild rice the traditional way. My family is probably, there's a couple other families too, but between my family, we still harvest wild rice the traditional way, which is a lot of work. And then we also still do maple syruping. So it really keeps our family tight and together. And I feel really blessed and very lucky, because to be a part of this tribe that I'm a part of, you feel the power and the strength of this tribe when you lose one of your elders. And we just unfortunately lost an elder yesterday. I try not to get too teared up, but that's when you feel the community and you feel that closeness. And I can kind of feel that here. And I've only been here for a couple hours, you know, so you should all be very proud of what you've created here. It's beautiful. So some of the future of KBOCC is looking really bright. I need more space. I want to build a trade center, and I want it to be huge. I want to have nursing in there. I want to have our CNAs in there. I want to do a whole culinary in there because we don't have enough room where we're at now. We can only offer one culinary class, when if we had enough room, we could be doing 3 right now, no problem. And I want to build tiny homes in there. And I want to push those tiny homes out and have our students live in there because we don't have housing for our students. And a lot of our students are couch surfing. Some are in the process of losing their homes, of being kicked out of rentals. You know, I have students coming into my office, and boy, we're thinking fast on our feet and how to get them housing and where they can go and what services can help them. So I would really love to do those tiny homes. I think that would just be really incredible for our whole community. One of the other views, or one of my other goals that I would like to do, is turn our building into a green building. And by that, I mean, so what we've done is we put in light environmental friendly lighting. The lights come on when you come in, they go off when you walk out. We put water stations in throughout, you know, so we're not buying plastic water bottles all the time. Our whole kitchen has gone to all environmental friendly products instead of styrofoam. I put all new windows. That whole building has, every window is brand new in it. We put a new roof on. Our HVAC system has been all upgraded, so the air that comes through, that's filtered through, is as clean as it can possibly be. We have scrubbers put on. Our outdoor space has little garden areas, so the students can go out and pick raspberries or blueberries, or pick tomatoes or cucumbers, you know. So, and we have a food bank for our students. That's very, we have to fill it like every 5 days. And we have a standing order where we just punch the button, we go and get it and bring it back down. And our students and our staff and our faculty receive free lunch every day, and it's done by our kitchen. And it's very good. It's a very good lunch. There's a salad bar that's very healthy. There's some other not so healthy options. They tried to get me to get an ice cream machine, and they almost had me. But then I'm like, no! You know, we're so high, our diabetic rates and heart rates are just terrible. I said, no, we can't do it. But they almost had me there for a second. Go ahead. This is just one of our recruiters and me at a booth. We go around all over the areas, and we do, recruit for KBOCC. Go ahead. And then we attend national conferences with our students, so that's me with all our students. I love that. I'm busy, don't get me wrong, I'm really busy, but I can connect with my students. You know, I'm not so busy that I cannot connect with them. And we actually took a bus down to this conference, and I rode with them in the bus, and they're all like, how come she's riding with us? You know, and I said, because that's the way I roll, you know. So you form bonds with students when you do different things like that with them. So this is us at a conference, and you can see we all had the same type of ribbon skirts or shirts on, ribbon skirts. We made them together. All the students and I made them together, so that was really a good experience too. And then this is our solar panel project. We just put up over probably, I think, 258 solar panels on our roof. So this is part of our Going Green, and this was one of my goals. I keep hitting my goals, so I have to keep making my goals, changing them, which is good. So one of my goals when I first started was to get the enrollment up and get new programming and do a nursing program. And then another one of my goals was to make that building environmental friendly. Now my next goal is going to be, we're going to have to do a capital campaign for the trade center, because that's just, and I'm already working on it. We've already put in grants, to help us with the plans, with everything. So hopefully, it's going to take a lot of work, but I think we're going to be able to do it. But the solar panel project, I believe it went live on Friday. So we are going to get a website where you can see how much we're saving that day. And it'll save us 50% of our electric bill in just this building alone. And our electricity bill is over $7,000, sometimes $8,000 a month. So that's going to cut that in half. And then in the wintertime, it'll do about 47%, because those solars, it takes the rays on the front and on the back. And it'll pay for itself in 13 years. So by then, who knows what type of solar power there'll be. And we're going to be piloting a program out at our Arts and Agriculture out in Pelkey. We're not going to do solar, but we're going to do, it's like a pole that goes straight up, and it's like a kite on the end of the pole, and it does a figure 8. So it's like wind power. It's a newer technology. So we're going to be the pilot program to do that out in Pelkey. So I'm really excited about that, because the environment is very important to me as well. I wanted to talk a little bit about our Keweenaw water walkers, because the water is very, very important to me as a Anishinaabe, as a Native American woman. My job, part of my job for my tribe, is to make sure that that water is safe and clean. And there's so much going on out there. And I have the privilege of driving to work every day, and I go from Baraga all around the head of the bay to Lance. And every now and then you just have to stop and look at the beauty that surrounds us here. We are very privileged to live in the area that we do, and we need to take care of our waters and our land. So I take this job really seriously. So what we do is these water walks, and they're usually led by Anishinaabe Native American grandmothers. And it's a way that we respect the truth of the water, that water is our life giver. And because women also give life, that is a connection that we have with as keepers of the water. There's many prophecies that were given before the contact with European people, and the prophecies state that when the world has been befouled and the waters turn bitter by disrespect, human beings will have two options to choose from: materialism or spirituality. And the water walks are focused on implementing in faith in the water, spirits, faith in the earth, faith in humankind, and faith in the power of love. No amount of money is more powerful than those forces. When we spend time respecting and thanking the water for keeping us alive, it becomes impossible for us to abuse it. When we spend time praying for the water, we spend time praying for ourselves. And in praying for ourselves, we pray for all and for all our relatives. So this is a water walk. It's a way to create awareness of what's happening in our lake. And that's me, and I have my little kitty Bert in my backpack. That's a clear backpack. I don't know if you can see it or not, but yeah, I take him on the water walks with me. So that's all I have. That's the end of it. So do you have any questions? Any questions? I'll be around afterwards too if you have any questions. And if any of you would ever like to come tour the college, you're more than welcome. And I will give you a very nice tour and have our culinary students give you a very nice lunch. All right, thank you, Miigwech, so much for being so welcoming. We have a question.